Hi, Democrats. Today is August 25th. Time for the Chairs Daily Live. Happy Friday. All righty. So this has been a really busy week. There was a debacle of the Republican Party's first debate where they were missing the front runner. As I watched that debate, this is just a recap. As I watched that debate, I will tell you that I was kind of blown away at what they had decided was important versus what people that I talk to all the time decide is important. It felt like we were on different universes. And to hear someone say that they didn't believe in climate change was just shocking, but it happened. So that happened this week. But before I get too far off on national, I'm going to talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma, because that's where I'm from, or just talk about the state and talk about what's happening in education in our state. You've heard me mention many, many times the superintendent of public instruction and how disruptive, that's probably the nicest word I can say, how disruptive he is, how derelict in his duty that he is. So I want to talk about some of the things that have come up just this week in education. At the Oklahoma School of Science and Mathematics, they've hired yet one more person, and it came to light when they hired this person that there were several people on staff at the Oklahoma School of Mathematics in Oklahoma City who have been involved in a child sex scandal some other way. Now, be clear, I'm not accusing all of those people of being inappropriate with kids, but there were some inappropriate with kids. There was some, I knew that people were being inappropriate with kids and I didn't do anything about it. There was some, I was accused of being inappropriate with kids. There are a lot of these folks working at the Oklahoma School of Science and Mathematics, and we've yet to hear from the superintendent of public instruction about this issue. He's not said a word. There have been four bomb threats at a school in Tulsa. It's Union Public Schools, not Tulsa Public School. But the superintendent of public instruction posted a video that he thought was funny. And as a result of that video, which as of this morning was still posted on the superintendent of public instruction's page, that video, someone saw it and has decided to call in four bomb threats to this school. 4. They called in a bomb threat to the Union Service Center, specific librarian. And in the process, someone also doxed the librarian. Honest to Pete. Still, no word from the superintendent of public instruction. There was a teacher who blew 0.24 on an alcohol test. The state limit, the minimum for DUI is a 0.08. This teacher blew a 0.24 at 3:00 in the afternoon while teaching at school. No word from the superintendent of public instruction. And I guess because he has his hands full being a bully towards Tulsa Public Schools. Tulsa Public Schools saw a lot of change this week. The superintendent of Tulsa Public Schools stepped down in the middle of all of the rhetoric and vitriol being aimed at her by the superintendent of public instruction. It is my understanding, based on her letter, that she stepped down in hopes that if she was no longer a target, perhaps Tulsa's public schools would achieve their accreditation. So what's happened now is the superintendent is out. Tulsa Public Schools achieved their accreditation with deficiencies. And there's an interim, they have named and agreed an interim superintendent of Tulsa Public Schools. That's a lot. There was a very well-attended, horrible meeting about Tulsa Public Schools and their accreditation. And to the credit of the school board members, there were several school board members there to answer questions of the State Department of Education. State Department of Education had questions of the school board. They were there to answer the questions. And throughout, the superintendent of public pretended by his language that he was in solidarity with Tulsa Public School. But every time he'd say, well, we're here to support you, he would swing back around and say, but don't test me. And that's not me exaggerating or using hyperbole. That was his actual words, and he tweeted it. That Tulsa Public Schools should know not to test me. He has made this about him. He has made this about a war of wills between him and Tulsa Public Schools writ large, when it really should be about the students. And so, just as a recap, for those of you who haven't been taking notes, he has failed our students with regards to keeping them safe from sexual predators. Just this week, intervening when someone who's supposed to be teaching shows up with alcohol in their system. When children and teachers and folks who work at the school are being terrorized by bomb threats. He's failed to intervene in any of those, but he was there to threaten Tulsa Public Schools. So I find myself once again in solidarity with Representative Mickey Dolenz, who has called for impeachment. He's called for impeachment of our superintendent of public instruction, because he is now, his behavior can be traced back to the bomb threats. He didn't tell anybody to bomb the school. I'm not alleging that, but that post incited bomb threats. He is now a danger. I've always felt like he was a danger because, well, for my reasons, but now he's actually a physical danger to students, both their physical health and their mental health. He has to go. So it is my hope and my prayer that the State House of Representatives are, counting their votes and getting themselves ready, and the State Senate is getting themselves ready so that the moment that they go into session, they take up articles of impeachment for Ryan Walters. He's more than derelict. He needs to go before our schools erode further. So that's what's happening here in Oklahoma. Now, I told you about the debate, and you all know by now, you've seen the mugshot, which I'm not going to put up because you've seen it enough. But the last president of the United States turned himself in yesterday in Georgia. He turned himself in, posted bond with a bail bondsman. Don't even get me started. Posted bond and left town. Mugshot, fingerprints, and I'm going to say height and weight, but that's kind of a question. But we know in the United States, for the first time here in August of 2023, we now have a mugshot of a former president. A former president of the United States had to get in touch with a bail bondsman so that he didn't have to spend the night in a county jail. Honestly, but that's what we have going on. That's what's happening. And he's making money off of his mugshot. And all of these people who were in cahoots with him, who followed him because they believed him. And I'm not even going to judge them on their faulty judgment, but they followed him because they believed him so much that they were willing to break the law, and they were willing to do things that there's clear written law, and a whole bunch of them were lawyers. And he's not helping them. He's not helping them with, he's raising all this money. He's not helping them get lawyers. He's not recommending lawyers. He's not paying for lawyers. They're all having to get their own lawyers. They're all having to come up with their own bail. And this hit home. One of the people who had to turn themselves in today was a county chair. She was a county chair in some county, a Republican Party county chair in some county in Georgia. It's taking it all the way down. We have county chairs, we have attorneys, former DAs. All these folks down. Now, people are leaving room for perhaps he's not guilty. I'm not. But even so, it doesn't change the fact that they're going to have to pay a lawyer to prove it. That they now have a mugshot. They now have been fingerprinted. These are attorneys Hopefully they've lived their lives in a way where they wouldn't have had to have fingerprints and mugshots. But hanging out with the last president of the United States, that's what's happened to him. Y'all, it's been a very busy week. Let's hope that next week is all about light and love. But I'll be back here Monday at 4:15 to talk about it. You guys have a wonderful weekend.